coming.
Hey, yo, lesson here, babe. You come at the king, you best not miss.
Against me shall prosper.
Like major pain. When I make it rain, they be like they'll do it again. From the club to the coop inside my gates, up in my bedroom screaming each other's name. They was purdy, and I was 30. Little drove little boy.
Yo, can I with you? What?
ACT, you see this?
Look, if it ain't official Dana J, Levi for Kelly, or Prima Donna News, I don't even want to see it. Take the time. Look, you got some weed? I gotta get some. All right, hurry up. These and them here, everybody here, we waiting on you. All right.
You know what's it's turkey broth.
Need a little excitement?
New World Order wannabe, said the Storm Colonel.
It's very rude to speak about another person when they're not present. If you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. Being confused is a very scary feeling. Maybe he did it to remind you about what you did. WrestleMania. You remember, don't you? I really think he does. You tried to use that memory against me, and now you're out of time. No one is safe. It's coming.
But I know that there's more. More for you, more for us.
DJ discretion.
Flow still sick, I ain't talking the pandemic.
DJ discretion.
Flow still sick, I ain't talking the pandemic.
DJ discretion.
Flow still sick, I ain't talking the pandemic.
Say you love it, what you gonna do now? Hope you're ready, cause I'm really about to put it down. Girl, you know that I will never disrespect you. We love tomorrow, but tonight I wanna spank you. That ass down, gotta make it last now. Start off slow, then I'ma beat it up.
I don't have time for that. I don't have time for bullshit. Y'all better quit playing with me.
Yo, what's happening? Jeez, y'all. It's your boy Papa Dog. Don't be mad at me. Yo, tried to tell him. Yo. Goddamn, my lady pregnant again, but this time she pregnant with twins. Another collection plate. Come on, preacher, that's kind of strange. I'm sorry, God, I need that little change. I gotta do a couple things, cause that stimulus, it ain't stimulate. Tax time, the mama got pissed and won't let them claim the baby. They shooting again. These just crazy, they need some help. Man, they shot him in the hip. He fell out and shitted on himself. My cousin Paul called Fed time up the road, did a whole dime. He used to call home. I heard niggas crying in the background, saying to myself, this ain't how we supposed to live. Turn on Facebook, man, another bitch that got killed. For the love bag, my dog losing weight out here smoking cocaine cigarettes. 8 years old, shot in the head, had nothing to do with that. That baby innocent. Go get George Zimmerman if y'all just wanna kill a bitch. That's why I'm asking Jesus, please tell me why you leave us. Tell me why you leave. These people wanna dead. On the internet capping, that shit is fake, bro. In the mirror showing your ass, put no makeup. Man, y'all better wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Wake up. Man, y'all better wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Man, y'all better wake up. I've been telling y'all better wake up. You can't nail bitch, say Papa Duck, ain't say nothing. I told y'all everything. I told you I like the government stole it. I told y'all. Bullshit. If they can lead us and go to the moon, they'd have been done did it. And if we took the shot, I pray for you. Lord, no. Don't want black folk to grow, so they put us on birth control. And just cause you go to church every Sunday, don't make you saved. 12 years of school's how you turn niggas to slaves. On our minds, they put shackles, they lie, trickers and trappers. They use the influence of athlete, actors, and rappers. For real. That's fucked up, they did the Emmett Till. And all the pain his mom and family had to feel. That's why I'm asking Jesus, hey, please tell me why you leave us. Tell me why you leave. These people want us dead. On the internet capping, that shit is fake, bro. In the mirror showing your ass, putting no makeup. Man, y'all better wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Man, y'all better wake up. Wake up, wake up. Man, y'all better wake up. What's happening? It's your boy Papa Duck. I've been telling y'all about this shit for a long time, bro. I get on YouTube every day, drop videos on nothing but that sauce. And I'm telling y'all what time it is. And I'm telling y'all, these people want us dead, bro. We living like it called to do this and bro. I done been wide open just to hate and hurt and kill each other every day. You feel me? You feel me? Man, one time for all the folks that's already woke. The ones that ain't need to wake up. Need to wake up.
What it do? 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 You know, I had to force myself to go live today. Came home to some bad news. But I want to say shout out to everybody that's here in the chat. I don't want to call nobody out singly. It's too many of y'all. So I want to say what's up. Y'all go ahead, hit that like button, that like, share, subscribe. I'm just going to keep it funky. I don't care about nobody else and their actions. On God. But I'm about to put some stuff out there. Some stuff that was dear to me. I'm going to say this much. I don't know where y'all janky ass people come from. Talking about, oh, Levi stealing, Dana stealing. Yo, you can't implement one without implementing all. Or should I say implicating. The same nigga that, for the same nigga that did a flyer just like this, it's the same nigga that carried out a lie that this lady started. So when you implicate this guy, just know you're implicating this guy. Just know you're implicating this lady right here. And we don't got nothing to do with that bullshit. What nothing stolen from a dollar for the king. What nothing stolen from this one. What wasn't nothing stolen going to this PayPal. Wasn't nothing stolen going to this law office. I'm tired of sparing feelings. Let this be the last time that I got to come out and say something about it. Because then I'm going to run a full ad on y'all shit. At least the good thing is that what we had going, y'all complained and lied so much, the federal government stepped in and looked at it. I'm just saying. Don't make me get ugly with this. And then the next thing I'm going to say is this. Hey, bedbug. I'll be all the Donnas you want. But with your dirty ass, knee-high ass self, you better take your little dirty ass and get a bath some fucking well. I'm not the one to play with right now. One nigga already gonna feel a punch and a squeeze of me. Chill the fuck out, man. If I ain't mentioning you, don't mention me. Don't mention my likeness or nothing. I don't fuck with you on no levels. I don't fuck with nobody that fuck with you on no levels. Because you just as bad as that nigga in Bolingbrook. If not worse. All this fake shit gonna stop. And I ain't faking with none of you motherfuckers. So when you come this route, make sure your shit in order. That's all I'm gonna say. And I hope whoever take heed to this warning. Now, back to what I was on earlier. I specifically said, thank you so much, Ann. I specifically said that the government was actually tripping people up. I got some calls that was saying, yo, what you doing was wrong. And you know, when I get calls like that, I'd be like, what? Go back and listen to what I said. Oh, you said that minor one could be motherfucking Lisa Van Allen. Glad you said that. Because now I can break this shit down. The government said minor one testimony was minor one met Kelly around 1997 or 1998 when she was about 13 or 14 years old. Kelly began having sex and engaging in sex acts with her at that time. From the beginning, Kelly told minor one that she was not allowed to tell anyone about the sexual activity. My question this morning was, how do the government know that? Secondly, I said, how do the government know that's accurately true? Then it said, Kelly told minor one that if anyone asks about their relationship being sexual, she should completely deny it and act offended that anyone would ask such a thing. So then I said, well, that can't be possible because a 13 or 14-year-old is not going to carry that all the way through. A 13 or 14-year-old, if they don't talk about it, they're going to act on it. You ain't going to get both. You're going to get one or the other, if not both. So then we got down to they engaged in sex hundreds of times in many different places, including his homes, recording studios, tour buses, and hotels. I said, well, that's weird because how would you know that to be factual if you don't have any video to prove it? If you don't have nothing else to prove it, that means it's his word against her word, allegedly. So then it said Kelly instructed minor one how to have sex with him and with other girls and women. And I said, well, he can't be a pedophile because you can't include women with a pedophile. Said that. So it said, including individual D at the same time. Kelly continued to engage in sexual acts with minor one through and after she turned 18. I said, how do they know that if she haven't said anything? Everything have to be word of mouth, right? Okay, check this out. When minor one and Kelly engaged in sex acts, Kelly often recorded them, including by using a camcorder with VHS tapes. Kelly kept his video camera and the VHS tapes stopped. This right here is not Rashonda Landfair's testimony. And what I said, for the people who couldn't catch it, what I said was, you cannot add Rashonda Landfair testimony and with Lisa Van Allen testimony to make it seem juicy and spicy. No, that will be conflicting the jurors. You have to add Lisa Van Allen testimony by itself. So why do you want to squeeze Lisa Van Allen testimony up under and Rashonda Landfair testimony? And then I said, a person that's reading this will definitely be confused, or they can be confused to think that minor one could be Lisa Van Allen or Rashonda Landfair. So for the motherfuckers that want to try to correct what I'm saying, understand what I'm saying and understand in the point of view that I'm coming from and the lens that I'm coming from. Because the lens that I'm coming from is not where everybody else is coming from. The lens that I'm coming from is this right here. If you're going to say Robert did something to minor one, let minor one testimony be minor one testimony. Don't compile minor one testimony with Lisa Van Allen testimony, or what is Lisa Van Allen in here? What is it? What do they call her? Hold on. Let me see what they call her in here. They called her Big Willie, Individual D. So you can't have minor one and Individual D testimony together. Even though Individual D said that she's on a tape with minor one, guess what? Individual D need her own goddamn testimony if you're going to sit back and charge this man. You can't charge him with a compiled story. So if he did something to minor one and y'all can prove it, let minor one testimony stand on its own merit. But don't put minor one testimony along with Individual D, and then mistake number one. Well, again, another mistake. Not number one, because they made a bunch of them in this. You can't put minor one and Individual D testimony in one. This says when minor one and Kelly engaged in sex acts, Kelly often recorded them, including by using a camcorder with VHS tapes. Kelly kept his video camera and the VHS tapes with his recordings in his gym bag. I'm going to stop right there, right? I'm going to show you why I'm going to stop right there. And for the people who really don't understand what's really going on or what I'm really saying, maybe this will help you. Maybe this will help you. Maybe this will help you. Because one thing for sure, two things for certain. A brother like me, you can't play with like that. So let me help you. Ooh. Let me help you. Because at the end of the day, I don't think you understand what's really going on and what the government really just did. I really don't understand. Excuse me. I really don't think you understand. So since you don't understand, let me help you a little bit. Okay. That's Young Thug's joint. Let me help you real quick. Go to downloads. Okay. Let me help you with something. Ooh, they all right here. Yeah. Nope. Let me help you with something. I had them all in one place, but I took it out. I took the thing out. Go to Rob Files. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay. Make sure this is the right one. No, that's not it. That's surviving thing. Okay. Hold on, y'all. I'm looking for one little piece. That's Damon Pryor. Here we go. 1, 2. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. And I want y'all to see this when I show this, because a lot of people sit back and misjudge things. Okay, here we go. So let me go back to it and I'm gonna show you. Hold on, here we go. And I got what I wanted. Let's rock. Right here it says, oh shoot, I forgot to put you on the screen. It says, when Minor One and Kelly engaged in sex acts, Kelly often recorded them, including by using a camcorder with VHS tapes. Kelly kept his video camera and the VHS tapes with the recordings in his gym bag and on a shelf at his house, hidden behind other tapes. Kelly sometimes played tapes depicting pornography while he and Minor One engaged in sex acts. Some of the tapes were of Minor One and Kelly, and some depicted Kelly having sex with other people. Kelly took the gym bag with the tapes almost everywhere he went, and only let certain people he trusted carry the bag. Brown was one of those people whom Kelly trusted to carry the bag. I'm going to stop right there. This is why I say what I say, right? And people get mad at me because I look at things from a different lens. I don't look at it from the same lens that a lot of you folks look at it. And here's the reason why. Here's the reason why right here. Okay. Here we go. Remember everything I just read to you, right? So it says, Essence asks, what happened to the tape? Van Allen said, I ended up calling Robert in 07 and telling him I had it 7 years later. I didn't have it in my possession, but I wanted him to know that it was around. He was very calm. He just paused for a second. And then he said, like he always said, when could I get up there? He flew my fiance and me to Olympia Fields, Illinois, where he lives. He met with me and brought up money. I didn't say anything about money. He said, I can give you this if you can get the tape back for me. Okay. Okay. Hold on. Hold on. Because I wanted you to, I don't know why I did that. Put that there. Put that there. Essence Magazine said, "How much did he offer you?" Van Allen, I didn't really want to. I don't really want to get into numbers. He ended up paying in installments. The guy that I gave it to, he had made a copy and didn't bring the original. This was an issue. So Robert's accountant ended up giving us some money. And then we had to come back later with the original tape, and then we could get the rest. Then we had to take a lie detector test, proving that we didn't have any more copies. Once again, I said it once and I said it again. I don't see anything wrong with making sure people are telling the truth. Okay. Essence, why did you take the tape? Because I was upset about the fact that I hadn't wanted to do to do the threesome. Here's the lie. And I didn't want him watching it. I gave it to my friend because he was the only person I knew I could trust at that time. I asked him to hold on to it and not do anything with it. Okay. Essence, if you had no financial motivations, what compelled you 7 years later to call him about having the tape rather than just never mention it at all? Well, see, that's the thing. I didn't have it in my possession. I didn't have too much control over it. I trusted my friend to hold on to it. But he had been calling me saying that people were interested in the tape. That's what scared me and got me to the point where I wanted to give it back to Robert because I didn't want it to get out. I knew that my friend wouldn't mind giving it back to Robert and that he wouldn't just... Hold on. Okay. Check this out. Consent in Georgia. Van Allen, who was given immunity from prosecution for her testimony, said that she engaged in sexual encounters with Kelly and the girl seen in the tape that had led to Kelly's indictment. She further testified that in 2006, she removed a video of a sexual encounter with Kelly from a duffel bag that he had left on the sidelines of a basketball court at a high-end Chicago gym. Stop. I thought they said in the indictment that Kelly ain't leave his bag with nobody, that he only let certain people touch the bag. So if that's the case, how did he leave it on the sidelines of a basketball court? Make it make sense. But this is one account that she give with Kelly from a duffel bag that he had left on the sidelines from a basketball court at a high-end Chicago gym, which was hoops in Chicago, while he was shooting hoops. According to Van Allen, the bag was full of such tapes. He carried it everywhere with him. Wherever he was at, the bag would follow. She said in an interview on Wednesday, she told me, I just didn't want that tape out there. Okay. So watch this. If that's the case, Essence said, what's the deal with the sex videotape that you took from his bag? Listen to the switch up. He had about 40 sex tapes. Wait a minute. I thought he had multiple. Well, no, I'm sorry. Not multiple. Let me get it straight. Because I don't want nobody to be like, well, that means the same thing. Wait a minute. Let me get it straight. Let me put it side by side. So that way you would know exactly what I'm talking about. Okay. The bag was full of such tapes. Right here. The bag was full of such tapes. He carried it everywhere with him. That's what she said. He said that he did there. Let me slide this over. Slide it over. You see the difference in the story? Do you see the difference in the story? If he took the bag everywhere he went and didn't want nobody to see it, and you didn't want nobody to see it, ask this question. Riddle me this. I was in the studio bored one day, and he happened to leave the bag in the room. So now he leave the bag in the room with you. But I thought he only left it with certain people, and Brown was one. But how did he leave the bag in the room with you if he didn't trust you? That's the question that I'm having. And then you said, Lisa, I went through it and popped in a couple tapes and watched different ones with him and different girls. Wait a minute. How did you watch it with him and different girls? And he happened to leave the bag in the room with you. And then from that point, when I came across one with him, her, and me, I took it and I went back to my hotel room and sent it to a friend of mine in Kansas City. So let me get this straight. Robert had a duffel bag that he left in the house with you. You got bored and went through his bag. You popped in a couple of tapes. Then you watched different ones with him and different girls. Then when you came across the one with you, him, and her, you got up, you took it, you left, you went to your hotel. Robert just sat there and said, okay, just take it anyway. And the other girls that was there was like, okay, cool, you cool. The story's not adding up. That's what I mean when I said the feds don't want to compile the story, because now you making minor one sound like Lisa Van Allen / Rashona Landfair. So now you trying to make, but matter of fact, but the way they have it written, it sounds like whoever minor one is, whether it's Lisa Van Allen or Rashona, they have a split personality of the other person. That's what it screams. And if I'm lying, then somebody tell me I'm lying. But the way they have it written, it screams two different people. So when people want to start saying everybody know that minor one is Rashona Landfair, I never doubted that. But what I did doubt is the writing of this indictment. It screams two different people, because you have 4 different dynamics. And this dynamic is Lisa Van Allen. And you try to intertwine Lisa Van Allen's dynamic along with Rashona Landfair dynamic. However, for the people that says that Rashona's testifying, the government anticipates testimony at trial. I'm a stick that in there. The government anticipates, not the government knows that minor one will give a testimony, but the government anticipates. You know what that means? For the people that always got something to say, you know what that means? They don't know for sure. They don't know for sure. So we finished all that. Let's skip down to this right here, because we on page 16, right? Yep. We on, yeah, right here. I start back right here. In 2008, just prior to and during the state trial involving Video One, Kelly isolated minor one from her family and friends and controlled her movements and contacts with others. Stop. How can he isolate her when her dad was playing guitar for you? See, that's what I mean when I say it don't make sense. Kelly's lawyers prepared minor one on what to say if she were called as a witness. Ultimately, minor one did not testify at the trial, and the jury acquitted Kelly. This is screaming Sam Adams need to appear. This is screaming Sam Adams need to appear. Minor one, who was over 18 years old at the time of the trial, continued to have a relationship with Kelly after the trial concluded. The relationship was sexual in nature and abusive. Minor one ended her relationship with Kelly in approximately 2010, but she continued to have contact with him from time to time after that date. In approximately 2014, for example, minor one asked Kelly for help with rent payments. At first, Kelly refused. Minor one reminded Kelly who she was, all that she had given up for him, and what she knew about their sexual history together. Kelly thereafter made monthly payments to minor one by check between 2014 and 2015. Some of the checks said settlement on them, even though minor one never had a settlement agreement with Kelly. Minor four, number two. Kelly engaged in a sexual relationship with minor four from 1999 to 2001. When minor four was 16 to 18 years old. No, you can't do that. No. You can't do that. This is a big scope right here. 16 to 14, 17 is legal. So which one is it? Was she 16, 17, or 18? You have to give it. You have to give an account. And the reason why I say that is because right here, it says Kelly engaged in a sexual relationship with minor four from 1999 to 2001, when minor four was 16 to 18 years old, right? Okay. So you're saying that she was 16. So from 16 to 18, that's when he had sexual contact, right? Okay. Check this out. These sexual encounters occurred numerous times and in numerous locations, including Kelly's recording studio in Chicago and hotels. Once, when minor four was 16 years old, Brown told minor four that Kelly wanted minor four to get a hotel room and wait there for Kelly. Brown wanted minor four to reserve the hotel room herself. Minor four told Brown that that she could not because she was only 16 years old. Stop. This is the same shit from New York. And I find it funny that minor four landed in Chicago. Okay, Geronda. According to minor four, Kelly recorded himself engaging in sex acts with her and on at least one occasion. Wait. What? According to minor four, which is hearsay, Kelly recorded himself engaging in sex acts with her and on at least one occasion. But I thought he recorded every time he had sex, though. So if he only recorded her on one occasion, shut your mouth, Dana. Kelly recorded. I mean, it don't make sense. This don't make sense at all. Kelly recorded himself having sex with minor one and minor four together. So what you telling me is that Rashona and Geronda slept with each other? Is that what you're telling me? Okay. 3, minor 5. In 1998, when minor 5 was approximately 14 or 15 years old, Kelly engaged in sex acts with her. Kelly had threatened minor 5 that he would tell her mother she kissed a boy. What? Minor 5 felt both fear and loyalty to Kelly after their first sexual encounter. Kelly told minor 5 that they all had secrets now. After the first sexual encounter, and continuing until minor 5 was 17 years old, Kelly engaged in sexual acts with minor 5 together with minor 1 at least 100 times. Minor 5 and minor 1. Okay. These sexual encounters took place at Kelly's homes, his recording studio, his tour bus, and hotels. These encounters involved Kelly and minor 5 alone, minor 5 and minor 1 together, or minor 5 and other girls under the age of 18, including minor 6. Kelly often videotaped himself engaging in sex acts with minor 5 and minor 5 with others, including with minor 1 and minor 6. Minor 5 saw video cameras and tripods everywhere at Kelly's George Street house, at his recording studio, and on tour buses. Minor 5 was aware of a false wall in a room at the George Street house that led to a room full of videotapes. Kelly also kept videotapes in his gym bag. In late 2001, CPD interviewed minor 5 and her mother and showed them still images from video 1. Minor 5 identified minor 1 in the video as minor 1. Minor 5 then received a subpoena to testify in the state and grand jury. Minor 1 told Kelly about the subpoena. Kelly told minor 5 that the police were making him out to be the bad guy and that she should say that it was not minor 1 in the video. In video 1, minor 5 testified truthfully in the grand jury that she recognized minor 1 in the photographs that the prosecutor showed her, but she also falsely testified that she did not know of any sexual relationship between Kelly and minor 1. Minor 5 met with Kelly and minor 1 during Kelly's 2008 state trial. But wait, I thought he sent them out the country. So how's minor 1 meeting with minor? How's minor 5 meeting with minor 1 and Kelly if Kelly's supposed to have sent minor 1 out the country? Kelly discussed the possibility of minor 1 having to testify. Kelly explained to minor 1 and minor 5 that they could beat a polygraph examination by believing the lie being told because there was nothing wrong with the sexual activity they engaged in when the girls were under 18 years old. Kelly encouraged minor 1 to try to convince minor 5 to deny that it was minor 1 on the tape and to deny that the three had sexual experiences together. B, testimony of unindicted co-conspirators named in the superseding indictment. Now watch this. If you have a conspiracy going on, right? Why individual B, individual C, and individual D is not being charged as well, but they've been given immunity? If this is not a telltale sign that this is an orchestrated takedown or orchestrated hit on Robert Sylvester Kelly, I don't know what it screams. The government anticipates, here we go, that word again, that individual B, individual C, and individual D will testify at trial regarding their participation in the charged conspiracies. So I get it. You threaten them, government officials, and if they don't do what they want, and if they don't do what you want them to do, then they will be charged with conspiracy. I get it. The unindicted co-conspirators. I get it. Y'all want the big fish. Y'all don't care about the guppy, the minnow, and a piranha. I get it. The testimony that the government anticipates from these individuals is summarized below. Now watch this. The reason why that is summarized, for the people who don't know why they would summarize it, is because if they don't show up, they already have it on paper. So if individual B, individual C, and individual D don't show up, it's on paper of what they said. And you can't rebuttal somebody that's not there. What's going on, ATB? So Individual B met Kelly in the 1990s. Individual B did some concert promotional work for Kelly. And some work while Kelly was on tour. Individual B also managed a music group signed to Kelly's record label, and as a result, Individual B spoke with Kelly, McDavid, and Brown about various matters related to the group. In approximately 2001, Individual B was living in Kansas City. Kelly called Individual B and told him that Kelly needed something recovered and that he would pay Individual B to do it. Later, McDavid and Individual A, a private investigator working on behalf of Kelly, called Individual B and explained that they needed Individual B to recover some videotapes for Kelly and would pay him a reasonable amount to do so. Stop right there for a second. So they threw Kelly name in there when actually it was McDavid and somebody else. Wow. Shortly thereafter, McDavid and Individual A. Who's Individual A? Met with Individual B at a hotel in Kansas City, where they informed Individual B that Individual D stole a videotape or videotapes from Kelly and that Kelly wanted them back. Not unless Individual A is Yul Brown. Not June Brown, but Yul Brown. Individual B agreed to help Kelly recover the property. Under the agreement, Individual B was to recover one tape from Individual D in return for $100,000. And Individual B was to recover one tape that Individual D had stolen but did not have any more in return for $1 million. Individual B later entered into a written contract with Individual A, who acted on Kelly's behalf concerning the recovery of the Individual D videotape that was no longer in her possession. The contract was titled Agreement and Reward for Expenses. The contract listed $100,000 plus expenses as the fee to be paid to Individual B, even though the previous agreement was for $1 million. McDavid was present when Individual B signed the contract. Individual A and McDavid explained that the contract was for a lesser amount to avoid raising suspicion. The conditions for payment require Individual B to pass a polygraph examination that Individual B knew of no other copies of the videotape. Individual B learned from Individual D that she gave a videotape that depicted Kelly having sex with a young girl to a man in Georgia, Yul Brown. Individual B provided Individual A with the man's name, and in return, Individual A gave Individual B the man's address. Damn. Individual B drove to Georgia and recovered from the address. Individual A gave him a videotape that depicted Kelly engaged in sex acts with a young girl. Individual B made several copies of the videotape. Individual B watched the tape and he observed two scenes of Kelly engaged in sexual activity with minor one. The first scene depicted Kelly and minor one engaging in sexual activity on a black and white checkered floor. The video referred to in count 2, video 2. The second scene depicted Kelly and minor one engaging in sexual activity in the bedroom. The video referred to count 3, video 3. Individual B returned to Kansas. So wait a minute. This is not even the video. These are not the videos that people was talking about. Wait the hell a minute. What the hell is going on? Individual B returned to Kansas City and met with Individual A and McDavid at a hotel. There was a polygraph examiner with Individual A and McDavid at the meeting. Individual B gave McDavid and Individual A only one of the copies of the videotape that Individual B recovered from Georgia and retained the other copies. The videotape Individual B obtained in Georgia did not contain a separate video of Kelly. Individual D and minor one engaged in sexual activity. The video referred to in count 4, video 4, individual B asked for payment. The request was refused, and individual B was accused of making copies of the video and keeping the copies. Individual B admitted that he made copies but refused to submit to a polygraph examination. The meeting became contentious. McDavid and individual A told individual B he could get in trouble for possessing child pornography and accused him of trying to extort Kelly. That's what it sounded like, extortion. Individual B remarked that Kelly could go down for having sex with young girls. Kelly called individual B after the meeting. Kelly asked individual B to smooth things over with McDavid and individual A, and he would get paid. Individual B traveled to Chicago and met with Kelly, McDavid, and Brown at Kelly's recording studio. Kelly questioned individual B regarding the videotape that he recovered and told individual B that Kelly's life was on the line because he was being investigated for a sexual interest in underage girls. What? Individual B agreed to turn over another copy of the tape he recovered, but did not tell Kelly that he had even additional copies of the video. Kelly said that McDavid would give him some money as a show of good faith. McDavid gave individual B $10,000 in cash before individual B returned to Kansas City. Individual B met individual A and McDavid again in Kansas City and submitted to a polygraph examination. The examiner asked individual B whether he made additional copies of the videotape. Individual B said no. The polygraph examiner determined that individual B passed the polygraph examination, even though individual B had, in fact, made additional copies of the videotape. Individual B nonetheless turned over another copy of the tape he recovered in Georgia, and McDavid and or individual A gave individual B $75,000 in cash over the next years. Until approximately 2008, individual B received large sums of money every year or every other year as payments towards the $1 million he was owed. Individual B never received the full payment. Bingo. What would be the motive for individual B getting back into the water with this? He never received full payment. However, hey, Tatey Talk. However, if individual B accepted any form of payment, the lawsuit is null and void because he settled the contract. In approximately mid to late 2002, individual B met with Kelly and Brown at Kelly's home in Olympia Fields. Brown placed a videotape into a VCR, and together they watched the scene which showed Kelly, individual D, and minor 1 engaged in sexual activity. The video referred to in count 4, video 4. Kelly asked individual B the location of the copy of the videotape that contained that footage, since the videotape that individual B recovered from Georgia did not contain the scene. Stop right there. How do we know that this video is authentic? How do we know that these videotapes are authentic? If there was multiple tapes made, we don't know which one is altered or which one is authentic. Individual B returned to Kansas City and spoke with individual C about this missing scene. Individual C told individual B that he had a copy of the tape with video 4 and that he knew he would receive money if he returned the tape to Kelly. Individual C showed individual B the videotape with this footage of individual B recorded some of it on his cell phone. At some point in the lead-up period to Kelly's 2008 state court trial regarding minor 1 and video 1, individual B met with Kelly and McDavid at Kelly's home in Olympia Fields. Individual B denied having any copies of tapes depicting Kelly engaged in sex acts. Kelly told individual B that he, individual B, would be dead if another tape of Kelly, wait a minute. Kelly told individual B that individual B, will be dead if another tape of Kelly engaging in sex acts with a minor surfaced. Kelly further stated that minor 1 and her family would not testify against him because he relocated minor 1 and paid off her family. That's where that came from. So individual B, which is Chuck, is telling people that. Oh, so it's word of mouth. Here we go again. This the same shit that happened in New York. Kelly expressed concern about individual B disclosing information about the tapes. The following day, individual B met with McDavid, who gave individual B approximately $100,000 in cash. During Kelly's state trial in approximately June 2008, individual B contacted news media outlets and advised that he was holding a press conference about Kelly. Individual B wanted Kelly to pay the balance of the $1 million owed to him, and he wanted Kelly and his team to know that he was willing to disclose what he knew about the tapes containing Kelly engaged in sexual acts with minor 1, their agreement about the recovery of the tapes. Later that day, Kelly asked individual B not to hold a press conference that night. Brown gave individual B approximately $10,000 to $20,000 in cash. The next day, individual B met with McDavid, who paid individual B approximately $130,000 to $140,000 in cash. Individual B then canceled the press conference. Individual D met Kelly in late 1997 or early 1998 in Georgia. They began a sexual relationship a short time thereafter. Kelly liked to videotape them having sex. Kelly convinced individual D to have threesomes with him and other girls and women. Individual D engaged in sexual acts with Kelly and minor 1 on at least 3 occasions when minor 1 was under 16 years old. The first time occurred in a room in the lower level of Kelly's residence on George Street. Kelly set up a camera before the 3 of them began to engage in sex acts. Individual D engaged in threesomes with Kelly and minor 1 in other places, including on the basketball court in the George Street residence and in the trailer. Each time Kelly filmed the encounter, Kelly kept the duffel bag with him wherever he went. Individual D looked inside the bag and saw that it was full of VHS tapes. In approximately 2001, individual D searched through the bag of tapes until she found one that contained footage of Kelly, minor 1, and herself engaging in a threesome. The tape had 3 different sex scenes on it. The first depicted Kelly and minor 1 in a room with a black and white chess or checkerboard pattern on the floor. Video 2. The second depicted Kelly and minor 1 in a bedroom. Video 3. The third depicted Kelly, minor 1, and individual D having sex in a room with wood walls on the lower level of Kelly's George Street residence. Video 4. Shortly after taking the tape, individual D gave it to individual C, who lived in Kansas City. Later, individual D moved to Georgia, where she remained in contact with Kelly through 2007. In early 2007, individual D learned that individual C still had the videotape containing video 2, video 3, and video 4. Individual D knew by this point that a different videotape of Kelly engaging in sex acts with minor 1, video 1, had been leaked to the public. Individual D was concerned that the tape with her engaging in sex acts with minor 1 and Kelly will also be leaked to the public. Individual D reached out to Kelly about the videotape through an acquaintance. Yul Brown. Not June Brown, but Yul Brown. Kelly flew individual D to Chicago. It ain't saying he flew individual D and her fiance. It just said he flew individual D to Chicago to meet at his home in Olympia Fields. During this meeting, Kelly asked individual D questions about the videotape and offered her $250,000. No, sir. No, sir. Here we go again. Somebody's story ain't right. Hold on. Somebody's story ain't right. And the reason why I say that is right here. Oh, somebody's story ain't right. Somebody's story ain't right. I ain't gonna let me do that. Okay. There you go. It says a law clerk for the defense team, Jason Wallace, told jurors that Van Allen's fiance, Yul Brown, sought $300,000 from Kelly in exchange for her silence. Why that's not in the indictment? Why that's not an indictment? Lisa doesn't have to testify in court if things are made right. Wallace quoted Brown as saying during a meeting with Kelly attorney in Georgia last month, according to Wallace. Van Allen was at the meeting in a hotel lobby, Wallace said, but Brown did all the speaking. Wallace said Van Allen kept nodding her head in agreement. Under cross-examination, prosecutor Robert Hellengoder accused the defense of trying to create an illusion of impropriety around Van Allen's testimony. No, it wasn't no illusion. That's what happened. So if that's what happened, how did the government get here? That's what I mean when I said certain things were left out. So now Robert offered $250,000 and Yul Brown didn't offer $300,000. That part right there. Why Chuck Freeman lawsuit ain't in the indictment? Exactly, Prima. I'm not saying that Robert is perfect. I'm not even saying that he's, but let's not shift nothing. Let's keep everything going. Let's keep it real. You trying to say Robert offered you $250,000, but they ain't saying nothing about Yul Brown offering $300,000. And Yul Brown is on video saying that he had something to do with it. So it says to recover it from individual C, which is Chuck Freeman. Kelly said that individual D could divvy up that money. However, she needed to get the tape back. Kelly further stated that McDavid would handle all of the arrangements. After the meeting, individual D contacted individual C. Individual C agreed to fly to Chicago and return the tape. Brown met individual C. When individual C arrived in Chicago, Brown drove the three of them, Brown, individual C, and individual D, to an attorney's office on Jackson Street near the federal courthouse in Chicago. Hold on. Okay. to an attorney's office on Jackson Street near the federal courthouse in Chicago. Individual D and individual C met with McDavid in an attorney's office. McDavid and individual D watched tape containing video 2, video 3, and video 4, according to individual D. According to individual D, McDavid was most interested in the parts that showed minor 1 and the multiple references on the tape to minor 1's 14-year-old body parts. What? McDavid kept the videotape. McDavid asked individual D and individual C about whether there were other copies of the tape. McDavid then took individual D to take a polygraph test in that same building. The polygrapher asked individual D questions about whom she had given the tape to and if any copies of the tape had been made. Individual D passed the polygraph examination. Individual D learned that individual C took a similar examination but failed because individual D understood it. Individual C had made a copy of the video of the tape before traveling to Chicago. After the examinations, McDavid gave individual D and individual C $20,000 each in cash. McDavid stated that they would each receive an additional $80,000 when they returned with a copy of the tape that individual C made. McDavid said he would pay individual D the remaining $50,000 of the $250,000 Kelly promised. What? After Kelly's state trial. What the hell? Later in 2007, individual D and individual C returned to Chicago where they met with McDavid again. Individual C brought with him another copy of video 2, video 3, and video 4 and gave it to McDavid. Individual D and individual C each took polygraph examinations and the each passed the examinations. Oh, Jesus. McDavid gave individual C $80,000, but only gave individual D $50,000 in cash. McDavid said that if it wasn't for individual D, they would not have had to pay individual C $100,000. Individual D returned to Chicago a third time. Oh, she ain't tell that. Individual D took a third polygraph examination during this visit. Individual D was questioned about matters unrelated to the tape. The polygraph examiner determined that individual D failed the polygraph examination. McDavid accused individual D of being disloyal and threatened her. I thought Rob was doing all the threatens. So now we see it's Daryl McDavid doing the threaten. McDavid ultimately gave individual D the $30,000. McDavid told individual D that she would have to she would have to talk to a lawyer and deny ever having sex with minor 1. McDavid waited in the hallway while individual D spoke to a lawyer who later turned over a summary of the interview to Kelly's attorney at the time. During the interview with the lawyer, individual D falsely denied ever having sex with minor 1. So check it. I thought they said that Robert had an attorney in a room with Lisa Van Allen. Now we know that he was in a hallway. So she could have said anything enough. What nobody have known? See, this is what I mean when I say the lies of the stories and too many. Now they trying to say that individual D falsely denied ever having sex with minor 1. Really? Come on now. 3. Individual C. Between 2000 and 2004, individual C received the VHS tape from individual D via mail service. So hold on. Lisa Van Allen broke all these federal laws, and y'all giving her immunity just because y'all want to prosecute Robert Sylvester Kelly. Wow. So y'all willing to overlook what Lisa Van Allen did as far as federal time and federal laws being broken just to prosecute Robert Professor Kelly? This is weird. Individual C watched it. Individual C watched the tape. The tape depicted Kelly engaged in sex acts with individual D and a young girl. In or around 2007, either McDavid or Brown contacted individual C and explained that they had information that individual C had a copy of a videotape that they were trying to recover and that they wanted him to travel to Chicago and return it in exchange for money from Kelly. Extortion. Brown later followed up with individual C to make travel arrangements for the trip to Chicago. Individual C showed individual B the videotape before going to Chicago and asked individual B for his advice about whether he should go to Chicago. Individual C made a copy of a portion of the tape and took the copy, that is, the shorter version, to Chicago. Individual C met with McDavid, Brown, and individual D. When individual C arrived in Chicago, individual C gave the tape to McDavid and Brown. McDavid, Brown, and individual D went into a separate room with the tape. McDavid returned and said what individual C gave them was not the original version of the tape. Here we go. McDavid stated that individual C would have to take a polygraph examination. During the examination, the polygrapher asked questions regarding copies of the videotape. The polygraph examiner determined that individual C failed the examination. Individual C admitted that he kept the full copy of the tape in Kansas City. McDavid instructed individual C to return to Kansas and to retrieve the original videotape. According to individual C, McDavid gave individual C approximately $20,000 in cash. Come on, y'all. Get me up to 1,000. I said 1,000. Get me up to 100 likes, y'all. I need 40 more likes. 20,000 cash to show how serious they were about wanting to get the tapes back. Individual C returned to Chicago within days and with the original videotape he received from individual D. Individual C met with McDavid and Brown and turned over the tape. McDavid gave individual C a hug, and Brown said that individual C had a golden egg. Individual C took another polygraph examination where the polygrapher again asked questions about the copies of the videotape. The polygraph examiner determined that individual C passed the examination. During the same trip, McDavid gave individual C a bag of cash, which individual C determined contained $80,000. Individual C told McDavid that one day he, individual C, was going to give the money back. McDavid said not to worry about it because Kelly wanted him, individual C, to have the money. 4. Minor one's mother. Minor one's mother is expected. Wait a minute. Expected. You see how the words change? Expected. But I agree with Prima Donna. Where's Chuck's lawsuit? Minor one's mother is expected to testify that she, along with minor one and her husband, minor one's father, met Kelly through minor one's mother's sister, minor one's aunt. This first meeting took place in approximately 1997-1998 when minor one was in junior high school. The sister, minor one's aunt, was a professional singer, and she often took minor one to Kelly's recording studio when she was working on music. The sister was in a romantic relationship with Kelly at the time. Oh no. Oh no. What about Earl? Oh no. The government messy. She was married to Earl. Oh my God. The sister was in a romantic relationship with Kelly at the time. Around this time, Minor One's father, who was a professional guitar player, began doing some work for Kelly as a part-time musician. Sometime after Minor One's introduction to Kelly, Minor One told her parents that Kelly was going to be Minor One's godfather. Minor One's mother found this strange because Minor One already had godparents who were chosen by Minor One's parents. After that, however, Minor One continued to see Kelly and Kelly's family. The sister was with Minor One at times, but at other times, Minor One went by herself. Minor One's mother understood that Minor One was spending time with her godparents, Kelly and his wife and family. Ooh, this about to get ugly. In or around 2000, the Illinois Department of Children and Family Services contacted Minor One's mother and her husband about allegations that Kelly was having sexual contact with Minor One. Minor One's mother and father confronted Minor One about the allegations, and Minor One denied them. In approximately December 2001, the sister contacted Minor One's parents and told them that she had a copy of or had seen a copy of nope. She contacted them and said she had a copy or had seen a copy of a tape that depicted Kelly engaged in sex with Minor One. Check it. It's a difference. Either you seen it or you had it. Either you seen it or you had it. That's a difference. Either you seen it or you had it. Make it make sense. Minor One's father told Minor One's mother that they had to meet with Kelly. Minor One's mother and Minor One's father met with Kelly and McDavid at a hotel. During the meeting, Kelly said he was sorry. Kelly did not state that he had sexual contact with Minor One. Kelly said that Minor One and her family needed to leave town right away. What? Kelly and McDavid said at one point, "You're with us or you're not." Kelly also said, "You're with me or against me." Stop. So you're going to use the New York terminology down here in Chicago? That some harm will come to the family if they decided to go against him. Minor One's mother and father were frightened. Minor One's mother did not want to go up against Kelly's power, money, and influence by not following what he said. And so they decided to go along with Kelly's demand and leave town. After the meeting, Minor One started acting differently. Minor One threatened to harm herself if her parents did not go along with whatever Kelly told them to do. Stop. Are you serious? So now this whole sex pact that Geronda was talking about, here we go. If you can't be with him, then go ahead and kill yourself and all. This is all Geronda telling them people that. That is to deny that Minor One was depicted on the tape. Minor One and her parents left town and traveled to the Bahamas and Cancun, Mexico for several weeks. Minor One's family did not pay for the trip. During their time away, Minor One was in contact with Kelly, and Minor One's father told her that he was in contact with McDavid. Minor One's mother, Minor One's father, and Minor One family discussed and agreed to do whatever Kelly and McDavid told them to do regarding the tape. Later, after the family returned to the United States, Minor One and her parents received subpoenas to testify in the state grand jury. Minor One's mother met with an attorney that her husband said was hired by Kelly and McDavid. That attorney sat in on the testimony of Minor One, Minor One's mother, and minor one's father when they testified before the state grand jury. Minor one's mother and minor's father had agreed before testifying in the grand jury that they would go along with Kelly and denied that it was minor one in the tape if asked. Minor one's mother was shown a tape depicting Kelly engaged in sex acts with minor one during her grand jury appearance, and she was asked if she knew the individuals depicted. Minor one's mother falsely testified that she did not know who the girl in the tape was. C. Other witness testimony. The polygrapher. Polygrapher 1 is expected to testify that in or around August 2001, he received a call from individual A about conducting a polygraph examination of an individual at a location in Kansas City. Individual A described his client as an individual in the entertainment industry from Chicago who was interested in finding out if there were any copies of certain videotape. Polygrapher 1 understood his assignment to be testing individual B about whether he made any copies of the tape. Polygrapher 1 presented individual B with an examination permission release form. Individual B refused to sign it or provide his name and instead gave Polygrapher 1 a nickname that Polygrapher 1 wrote on the form. Polygrapher 1 discussed with individual A and individual B the subject to be discussed during the examination. Before the examination began, they agreed that the focus of the examination would be about the performance tape. Polygrapher 1 wrote this title on the form along with the date, August 23rd, 2001. Polygrapher 1 listed the completed time on the bottom of the form. These notations may mean that Polygrapher 1 did not end up actually administering the polygraph examination, or that he perhaps started the examination but ended it early if individual B became non-compliant. Number 2, the polygrapher 2. Polygrapher 2 is expected to testify that in or around spring or summer of 2000 or the summer of 2001, an attorney with a client in the entertainment business hired him. The attorney told Polygrapher 2 that his client made a tape of him, the client having sex with his babysitter. What? Polygrapher 2's assignment was to determine if the subject of the examination, whom Polygrapher 2 understood to be the person who recovered the sex tape, made any copies of the tape. The attorney told Polygrapher 2 that he wanted to know the results right away because if the subject passed the test, the subject will receive money. The subject of the polygraph examination was individual B. During the examination, individual B pulled the VHS tape from inside his pants that Polygrapher 2 understood to be the recovered tape that they were discussing during the examination. Polygrapher 2 determined that individual B passed the examination. Who the fuck carries sex tapes in their pants? What the hell is going on, man? Look. These people crazy. Polygrapher 3. Polygrapher 3 is expected to testify that Kelly's attorney hired him to administer several polygraph examinations in March and April 2007. Polygrapher 3 created documents that reflect the subject of the polygraph examinations, individual C and D, the questions asked, and his determinations. Polygrapher 3 administered polygraph examinations to individual C on April 17, 2007 at a Western hotel in Chicago, and again on April 20th, 2007. Prior to each examination, individual C signed a consent form. During the examinations, Polygrapher 3 asked individual C questions about a tape that individual C possessed, which depicted Kelly engaged in sex acts with a girl and individual D. Polygrapher 3 asked individual C if individual C made copies of the tape. If Polygrapher 3's opinion, individual C failed the first examination and passed the second. Polygrapher 3 administered 3 polygraph examinations to individual D. One on March 23rd, 2007 at his testing lab near the federal courthouse in Chicago. 2 on April 20th, 2007 at the Swiss Hotel in Chicago, and 3 on July 26, 2009 at his testing lab. Individual D signed a consent form before each examination. During the first two examinations, Polygrapher 3 asked individual D questions about a tape which depicted Kelly, individual D, and a person with minors one's nickname having sex. Polygrapher 3 determined that individual D passed examinations. During the third examination, Polygrapher 3 asked individual C whether she Polygrapher 3 asked individual C whether she had more than one conversation with individual B. Who the hell is individual C then? If individual C is a she, who the hell is individual D? Wait a minute. Polygrapher 3 asks individual C whether she had more than one conversation with individual B about the tape and about money. That's the question right there, Prima. How you going to take a lie detector test when they lied about the nature of the tape? Oh my God, Jesus Christ. And about money. Polygrapher 3 determined that individual C failed the examination. So who the hell is individual C? If that's a she. If individual C is not Chuck or Keith Morrell, then who the fuck is individual C? And who the hell is individual D? If individual D is not Lisa Van Allen. Time to do some investigation. Polygraph records. Polygrapher 1 and Polygrapher 3 created documents contemporaneous to the examinations they conducted. Those documents included date and signed consent forms, pre-examination interview forms completed by the examiner, and the examiner's notes listing the questions asked during the polygraph examinations. Further, at least one of the Polygrapher 3's consent forms, signed by individual D, indicated that she agreed that her polygraph examination results would be released to Kelly's attorney at the time. So individual C and individual D are females. That's weird. Individual C and individual D are females. E. Records from individual A's businesses. Individual A have to be Yul Brown. No, it got to be Keith Morrell. Chuck Freeman and Keith Morrell. So who is C? Unless that's Prado. Records from individual A's businesses. As noted above, individual A, on behalf of Kelly and in concert with McDavid, facilitated the recovery. No, individual A is June Brown, they're trying to say. Facilitated the recovery and return of videotapes depicting Kelly engaged in sexual acts with minor one. Individual A owned and operated a business. Billing records from individual A's companies reveal the following entries, which align with individual B's testimony about his travel between Kansas City and Chicago. Not unless individual A is Daryl McDavid. And dealings with McDavid, no, can't be. And dealings with McDavid and individual A related to the recovery and return of the sex tapes. August 13th, travel to Kansas City. August 13th, conference at our hotel with individual KW. Hey, here go KW name again. August 14th, conference at our hotel with individual B. August 14th, Conference with individual KW. Call from individual B to individual KW. August 14th, return travel Kansas City to San Francisco. August 21st, consultants on preparation of reward and expense agreement, telephone conference, individual B extortion with McDavid and an individual conference call with individual B. August 22nd, conference calls with McDavid, refunding, conference calls with polygraphers, reasoning testing arrangements. August 22nd, travels San Francisco to Chicago. August 23rd, obtain funding from bank, travel from Chicago to Kansas City, Missouri, conference with individual B, conference with polygrapher 2, PSE examiner, and polygrapher 1, polygraph examiner, administration of PSE and polygraph test to individual B, further conference with individual B. Excuse me, August 24th, telephone conference with client. August 24th, conferences with individual B and with client, return travel from Kansas City to San Francisco. Individual A's business records also include unsigned and signed versions of the agreement for reward and expenses. Hold on. Individual A's business records also include unsigned and signed versions of the agreement for reward and expenses contract with individual B, as well as memos to file documenting individual A's interactions with individual B and polygraphers 1 and 2. Wow. Video 1, video 2, and video 3. As noted above, minor 1 is expected to testify. Okay. Now is expected to testify that she and Kelly were depicted in video 1, video 2, and video 3, engaging in sexually explicit conduct. Law enforcement officers reviewed the videos and determined that they depict child pornography. Law enforcement officers reviewed the videos and determined that they depict child pornography. They're going to have to prove that. They're going to have to prove that. While these videos must remain in the custody of law enforcement, they have been made available to the defense for review. Yeah. False documents and entries created as a result of defendant's intimidation, threats, and pressure. CPD report of minor 1's interview. All right, it's 12:15, y'all. And we're going to pick back up on this tomorrow afternoon. And we're going to start right here at G on page 35. We got 6 more pages to go. So tomorrow night, we're going to close this out. I thank y'all for joining me tonight. Y'all go ahead and get some rest. I know y'all tired. I know y'all, man, look, I'm telling you, I know y'all tired. And the reason why I know y'all tired, because I'm tired. So y'all go ahead and do what y'all got to do. But I will say this, and I will leave you with this. You're going to have to bring Damon Pryor in. Reason being is because this is not R. Kelly on video 1. That's not R. Kelly on video 1. That's not R. Kelly and Rashona on video 4. So, on top of that, I wonder, is this the girl that they claim that's Rashona? I wonder if this the girl they claim was with Rashona. Because remember, they supposed to be cousins, but they was having threesomes with Kelly together. This is Prado to the right. This is Lisa Van Allen to the left. And for the people that say Yul Brown ain't had nothing to do with this, check this out.
Yul Brown. He's the ex-fiance of Lisa Van Allen, one of R. Kelly's accusers who stars in the docuseries.
Well, Lisa is my son's mother. We met 2007, right before the R. Kelly trial.
And Yul Brown was right by Lisa Van Allen's side at R. Kelly's child pornography trial. Why were you subpoenaed?
Because I had a lot to do with it. I had a lot to do with the whole situation.
In what capacity?
Well,
hold that thought. Hold that thought. I'm gonna show you something. Not what I'm looking for. It's not the one I'm looking for. Hold on. Okay, anyway, I can't find it, but hold on.
Yul Brown. He's the ex-fiance of Lisa Van Allen, one of R. Kelly's accusers who stars in the docuseries.
Well, Lisa is my son's mother. We met 2007, right before the R. Kelly trial.
And Yul Brown was right by Lisa Van Allen's side at R. Kelly's child pornography trial. Why were you subpoenaed?
Because I had a lot to do with it. I had a lot to do with the whole situation.
In what capacity?
Well, like I said, I really don't want to go into the capacity of it because I don't really care if people think I sold it or she sold it.
He's talking about one of the many sex tapes R. Kelly is alleged to have made with underage girls.
He would never ask me if it was okay to be filmed, but he never hit the camera or anything like that.
In the docuseries, Van Allen says R. Kelly recorded her and another 14-year-old girl.
So, like I said, I mean, a lot of stuff that's being shown, a lot of stuff that I had is just there. Like I said, it's there. But anyway, I'm about to get up out of here. Y'all have a good night. I love every last one of y'all. I thank y'all for the people that hit the Cash App. I thank y'all too for the people that wanted to hit the Cash App and couldn't. I thank y'all as well. For the people who just said, I ain't seen that nigga nothing, I appreciate y'all as well. But for the people that's out there running around like the whole terrorist network, including the ones that's being seen and not seen, I only got one thing to say for y'all, man.
This is not the type of tea I want.
It's over for you.
This is not the type of tea I want.
It's over for you.
Good night, everybody.
Swimming in you. Hey, little mama. Said I wanna take her. Dipping your pool. Just go for a little dive there. Hey.